Folks, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I'll explain. Number one, it's absolutely free. Means you don't pay a dime out of pocket. Number two, you can use creation tools to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, like I'm doing with my phone. Number three, if you want to hear it on multiple platforms, Anchor can do that for you. So you can hear it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, among others. And the thing is, you can make money without anybody listening. As little as that. And everything you need to do is to make a podcast is all here. To get started, please download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You'll be glad you did. In part 8 of the 2020 Canes opponent preview series, we're going to preview the 2020 Virginia Tech Hokies, our opponent up in Blacksburg, Virginia, on November 14th. Well, here's what you need to know about Virginia Tech. First, offensively. Understand things are going to change at Virginia Tech frequently. No team has been hit harder with the transport portal more than VTech. Think about this. They were 86th in the nation last year in total offense and averaged just 31 points a game. In spite of that, there's plenty of hope for a huge season despite all the changes. Think about this. Damon Hazelton is gone. He's now in Columbia, in Missouri. And 16 combined catches last year from Hezekiah Grimsley and Phil Patterson are no longer there. Most of the other transfers didn't do much. Evan Fairs comes over from Kansas after making 28 career catches. They get leading receiver Trey Turner back after having 34 receptions for 553 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Tavion Robinson will do more after a very good season last year as a freshman. They get Dalton Keene, who was taken by the Pats in the 3rd round. He's gone. But they get James Mitchell back, and he's a solid threat deep. And they have a star in the making, as we found out last year when he came to Hard Rock, and Hendon Hooker. He was 61% on his passes. He threw for 1,555 yards and 13 touchdowns. But the biggest key was protecting the football. Just 2 interceptions. And that was in the loss against Virginia. Those were his only 2 picks of the year. He also ran for 5 touchdowns. That's their star. The backup battle is going to be between Quincy Patterson and Braxton Burmeister, who comes over from Oregon. Think about this. Much as the transfer portal took away a lot of their receivers, it also brought them terrific running backs. Especially with Deshaun McCleese leaving early. They get a grad transfer in Khalil Herbert, who comes from Kansas, where he ran for 1,735 career yards and 14 touchdowns. But not having Rutgers transfer Rasheem Blackshear really hurts them. Not being able to get instant eligibility. They get Keyshawn King, who will play a major role, and he was 3rd on their team with 340 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had a good backfield. And they have a pretty good line to work behind. 3 reserves left through the portal, but they get all 5 starters back. All underclassmen to boot. And that's all ACC guys, and tackle Christian Derishaw and guard Letitia Smith on the left side. That's a big line, and that's going to be a key for them. Now, when you look at Virginia Tech, of course, no more Bud Foster. I mean, that's going to be a big deal. That's a big deal right off the bat. No more Bud Foster. It was a force. It allowed 17 points or fewer 6 times. If it goes to plan, they get 10 starters back, with 16 of the top 18 tacklers likely to return. All in all their pass rushers are back after a solid season. But it also is going to take away a few prospects. It, of course, being the transfer portal on that defensive front. But all 4 starters are back. and it's built around 288-pound senior Jared Hewitt on the nose. There's not a lot of bulk. There's not any 300-pound Coke machines there. Let's put it that way, or any Pepsi machines, but they can move. They have a stud at linebacker in the middle in Rayshard Ashby, who had 120 tackles last year. And they all build around him. They have Dax Hollifield, who can go either inside or outside, and he finished 5th with 68 tackles. Alan Tisdale is an all-around playmaker who can really get behind the line and do some damage. He made 52 of the tackles last year. That's a good group there. Now, when they came to Hard Rock last year, we threw for 469 yards against their secondary. But they also picked us off 4 times. Okay? Everyone who came up with a pick is back. But the one that's sitting out this season is Caleb Farley. He wants to stay healthy to go to play in the NFL. And that's a big loss because he was an all-ACC corner. But they get Divine Diablo back after finishing second with 84 tackles. And then all 4 of the 5 are back. Okay? Now, let's take a look at their best offensive player. Like I said, it starts with Hooker. That guy who have to push time with Ryan Willis. But remember, when he took over, he was careful, at least when he was throwing it. And the offense ran very good when he had the ball. That's the kind of guy they want to build around. 6'4", 220, second on the team in rushing as well. 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Guy knows how to pick the football. And he has an attack now that has a lot of veterans. This could be a very special year for them. Also, Darashaw, Herbert, Smith, and Hoffman round out their best offensive players. 3 of them on that line. Let's keep that in mind. Their best defensive player, of course, a guy who had 120 tackles last year, is Rayshard Ashby. He's a senior. The guy's a leader, and he can get to everything. Also, they have Jared Hewitt, Jermaine Walker, Divine Diablo, and Dax Hollifield. That's a loaded group on defense. Even with no more Bud Foster leading them, that's still a very dangerous group. Now we talk about their keys to the season. The key to that offense is they got to stop the fumbles. This is going to be a good offense. They're going to have pretty decent pass protection, and there's a lot of depth that they can have a lot of options to go with. They were 3rd in red zone production, but they could be better on 3rd downs. It led the conference on 4th down, though. They have to avoid turnovers, though. That's the key. The giveaway issue is Hooker was flawless when they didn't take chances. He only threw 2 picks all year, but they were last in fumbles in the conference. Those 2 picks Hooker had, though, came against Virginia in that loss. And they turned it over 4 times in that game. They turned it over 5 times when they lost to BC in the opener. And turned it over 2 times or more 7 times last year. The bowl loss to Kentucky was the only time they failed to win when the offense turned it over once or not at all. They had 23 giveaways. That was the most in the last 3 years, and the 4 close losses last year go the other way if the O's tight. Defense, pressure, pressure, pressure. That defense is loaded. They have good pass rushers. They had 38 sacks last year, but when it didn't generate enough sacks, issues started to come up there. When they came up with 2 sacks or fewer, they were 1-5. They only beat Pittsburgh. But when they had 2 or more sacks, 7-0. And under Fuente, over the last 4 years, when they have 3 sacks or more, they're 18-3. Now that's good, well and good. But remember, they don't get Penn State this year. Remember that got scrapped because of COVID. The key to that season is going to be at Carolina early in the year. That's something to watch there. When you talk about that game, I mean, we're going to find out a lot about that team early in the year when they go up to Chapel Hill. That's going to be a big road test early. If they beat Carolina up there, that's going to be a team that could really potentially run the table when you look at that schedule. They get Virginia at home early this year. Not like in years past. Not like in the past. They get Virginia, they get NC State at home. They get Carolina on the road. We have to go up there November 14th. They go to Louisville 2 weeks before. I'm going to tell you this, and they get Clemson at home to end the season after a bye week. When I look at that schedule, I think this could be like an 8-9 win team. I really see like 8 to 9 wins for Virginia Tech in 2020. Okay, so that's my projection. 8, I'll say 9 wins for Virginia Tech. In part 9 of the 2020 Canes opponent preview series, we're going to preview the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.